Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to our second Google Hangout. Today we'll be discussing the following tools: FormMule, Kahoot, Plickers, ThinkPort, Rubistar, Electroninks, and the QR Droid Zapper. So we're going to start with Emma for Plickers.
Hello, everybody. Like Katie said, I'm going to be starting with Plickers today. I'm going to share my screen for you. And Plickers is a very helpful tool in the classroom. So here I'm going to start with my library. And this is where you set up your questions for using Plickers. The way that it works, I'll show you. This description comes with your setup. And you print out your cards from Plickers, which is free. You print out your cards, and these cards are codes for when you scan the room for when your students are answering questions. So you give these cards to your students, and you add your class, and then you scan the room, and the cards coordinate with A, B, C, or D in the multiple choice questions. And when we go back to Plickers, these are the questions that would show up, and I would give to my students. They would hold up their card. As you see here, it is false, and I would be looking for them to hold up the B card, which is anonymous to the children, students around them, which is very good. When they're done answering these questions, the reports show up in the Reports tab, which coordinates with the numbers on the cards. And as you see here, you can enter individual students' names, and they will coordinate with the number. And you can create multiple classes, and you can have up to 60 students in each class. You can also just add your entire roster where you copy and paste, which makes everything very easy. So you can also ask your students questions and have this in a live view on the computer, on the projector. So the class will see their answers and how they relate to their peers' answers. So this is something that you might want to avoid in younger classes for embarrassment issues, but I think it's a very good tool to have for older students to have a conversation about the questions that they answer.
It seems like this tool might also be good for doing surveys in the classroom. Do you think that would be a acceptable use for the Plickers?
Of course, you could use that on the first day of school, asking your students questions about home life or things that they might not want to share with the entire class, and you can just scan their answers. Along with like a survey, it can be done for assessment and for after a unit. It could be done for a review before a test. It could be done just as a warm-up as the students come into class, a fun way to get more information.
All right. The tool that I will be sharing with you is the QR Droid Zapper. So this is very similar to a barcode, except it looks more like this instead of the lines with the numbers underneath, and it holds a lot more information than a barcode does. So typically with a regular barcode, it just holds, you know, the code number, and that's really all the information that you can get just from scanning it. But this can really hold any kind of information that you would like, and all you really need is a scanner app. So anyone can scan the code as long as they have downloaded the scanner app onto their phone or whatnot. This can hold contact information. It can have a link to a website. So if you want to use it to hold contact information, all they would have to do is scan the code, and it would enter the contact right into the person's phone. So this is great for, let's say you have back to school night and you want, your students' parents to have your contact information. All they would have to do if they have the scanner app is just scan it, and they have it right there. They could use it to share their class website. Just scan it right there, have the class website. And another really cool thing that could be used if classes start to use more smartphone technology in the classroom is if they're doing like a worksheet or some sort of classwork. At the end of it, they could have the um, the code, and they can just scan it, and it can go straight to a website for a quiz or anything like that. And it's really easy to make one. So all you have to do is go to the QR code generator, and you can choose what you want to use it for, to add a contact, a URL, and you just generate it, and it's super easy and super convenient, and all you need is a scanner app, and it's good to go.
I think this website would be really useful for, say, a parent is volunteering to go on a field trip and they need a list of the students that they're getting in their group. So as a chaperone, you could scan it, get a list of your students, their parent contacts, and they would be ready to go on the field trip.
Yeah, and it'll be right there in their phone, so they don't have to worry about like losing any kind of paper with the information. So, yeah.
Okay, so I will be going next. My first tool, I'm sorry, hold on just 1 second. My first tool is FormMule. It's just it's just a form generator. It's very simple, a website to use. It's free to make an account, and this is what the home page looks like. So once you make your account, or you can take a free tour of the account, you then come to a page that looks like this. You'll have a blank spot right here. This is the field where you build your form into. Over here is the fields that, make it a little bigger, the fields that you add to your form. So you go add field. There are standard fields like single text, so this is just 1 or 2 words, a phrase, something like that. You have text area for paragraph, radio buttons for multiple choice answers, page breaks and section breaks are to divide sections, and then you have number boxes for phone numbers and such, check boxes for multiple answers, and drop down for, this could be for months, days, options, things like that. You can also put headings and files. Then you have common fields. These are going to be drop-down menus, most of them, like this. You got name, time, address, price. Name is just an open field. Survey fields. These you rate the number of stars, grade it on a grading system, a slider, a spinner. And then you have advanced fields for HTML, passwords, hidden fields, images. So once you have added all the fields that you want, titled them, you just go to edit up here, and you can title it. Like once you click on edit, it brings up all of the properties over here. So you just go through and change whatever you want to change. And then you'll go, once you've done that and saved it, you'll go to form settings. Here, the most important options you have are notifications, payments, so people can pay if it's required, and usage statistics, so you can see who's using it, how much they're using it, and that kind of stuff. Once you're finished, you go to publish. Here you can publish the link, the code, you can email the link, or you can have it pop up when they click on it. You have all sorts of different options for that. So it's very easy to use. It's pretty basic. You can make it a lot more intricate, though, with adding properties, changing things, adding themes. In the classroom, this would be great for assessment. It would also, or surveys. It would also be great for the teacher to embed on their website for student information, parent information, surveys, contact information, that sort of thing. So it's very user-friendly.
Seems like it would be a really good way for a classroom to go green too.
It would. It definitely would save a lot of paper, especially if you're a classroom that does a lot of forms, surveys, or assessments. This would be a great way, and you could put it on your website, even if it is an assessment, and the students could do it from home as homework or a take-home test, something like that.
Great way to get like parent feedback, student feedback on things.
Right.
So we're going to be moving on. The next one that I have to share with you is ThinkPort. And ThinkPort is really, let me go home here. ThinkPort is really here as a resource for teachers and students. As you can see here, it says out of school time learning resources. So things like this have games and fun educational activities for students to do outside of the classroom. And you can see here it's all broken up into literacy, math, STEM, very easy to understand and use. And when you go to learning resources, you can break it up by educational level. And I'm going to go to early childhood. There's, like I said before, it is broken up into literacy, math, STEM, social studies, social and emotional skills. So if we go to literacy, there's many games here with a description and what the children are going to be learning from this application or game that we're going to be playing. So we can start out with the amazing alphabet. Super interactive, lots of it talks to the students. For early childhood, this would be a great activity. Online resources, these are for graduate students, the educational community, newsletters, things like that for teachers that just need information. You can go to this site and find everything that you need for a lesson or an activity, just basic resources. I would use this in my classroom as centers and different activities within the subject. For like social studies, they could go to elementary school and then they can go down to their social studies tab and enter in and play games that are with recognizable characters. Very, very good resource for teachers to have.
That looks awesome. I think a lot of the resources look like kids would really enjoy them and be very engaged in them and almost not feel like they're learning, which I think is helpful, especially for very young kids.
I agree. I didn't do much investigation of the high school level, but I assume that it's more text-based. So I think it's a really good resource for all ages. Like you said, really good interactive pictures and sound for the younger students, and then more text-based for the older students to really get into their literacy skills.
All right. The next tool that I will share with you guys is the Electroninks page. So basically, Electroninks is a company that sells rollerball pens with silver conductible ink. So let me share my screen. There is a video you can see. This is the ink right here, and you can use it to draw, and it makes wires. It's magnetic, so you can stick things onto it. It could be used for engineering, STEM projects, teaching engineering. The ink is non-toxic, so it can be used for kids. Definitely a really good tool for kids to be able to like hold and manipulate and learn about how wiring works. The only thing I can see that might be a problem with it is if students kind of get crazy with manipulatives. Definitely the teacher would have to maintain control of the classroom. Probably would work much better in small groups or for individual students than for a whole classroom. So you can buy them in kits, and they come with different modules. So I'll show you these. These are the different like modules that come with it. There are like batteries. This comes with a buzzer. They can make all sorts of things using these, which, again, the ink is magnetic, so all you'd have to do is just place one of these right down onto it, and it'll stick right there, and the ink wiring will connect them all together. It would definitely have to be bought in kits as like a classroom. Teachers would probably have to get a grant to start using these because they are expensive, but it can be definitely worth it. One ink is around $20, but you can buy them in bundles. Yeah.
I think, sorry about that.
Here are the kits. You can buy like kits with all sorts of modules in there and the pens.
I think this would be a really good resource for after-school programs and things like that. I know a lot of schools and my placement and things like that have after-school programs like 3D printing and robotics and things like that. So I think this would really benefit, like you said, STEM and engineering with younger students, and being able to have it in their hand and to be able to manipulate it themselves.
Right.
I think is very important. And
yeah.
It might be a little expensive, like you said. You would have to get a grant or something like that, so it'd be expensive for each teacher to have it. So I think it would be better for an after-school program to learn how to use it and use the kits in a productive way.
Right. What I really like about it is for like those kids who really can't wrap their heads around how wiring could possibly work, they literally could just draw it themselves, and it's as easy as doodling, and it's non-toxic and safe, and
it also kind of bridges the gap between that physical circuit and the drawing of the circuit.
Right.
So they can kind of get a halfway step between the two. Okay, so my next tool is Kahoot. I personally used Kahoot a lot in my placement with my teachers, as well as even in my college courses. So this is the home screen that you come to when you go to Kahoot. It is a website where you can make quizzes, discussions, and surveys. When you go up here to the menu, you have some options. You can either go to your own Kahoots, which you created manually, or there are public Kahoots that are other people have shared. So on this page, there are some public Kahoots, all sorts of subject matter, notes, note values and names. So we got music, math, English, math, science, math, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of ages. If you come up here, you can search audiences. You can search quiz, discussion, or survey, and you can search by title, subject, tag, or username. You can also come up a little bit higher and search by trending and popular. So on this, okay. Go back to this page. We'll go to the Kahoots that I've made already. I've made two. I made this one for Dr. Sessome's class about the Diary of Anne Frank. I made this one for my placement on the vocabulary that they're going to see on the PARCC tests. We haven't used it yet, but we're going to be using it in the next couple of weeks before PARCC. So once you make a once you make a Kahoot, you can preview it before you play it with your class. This is what the preview screen looks like. And so from here over this way is when you actually play the Kahoot is what you'll see on your screen. And this phone is representing what the students will see. So when you use a Kahoot, the students have to have some sort of a technology, whether it be a phone, a computer, or an iPad or tablet to do their responses on. So that's one downside of it. If you don't have a class set of laptops or iPads, or if not every student has a phone, things could get tricky with this. But so this is the teacher view, so you can change whether you want to see the game pin, which we'll see in a second, instructions, randomize the questions and answers, and play music while you're waiting. So once you get all that done, you go to launch, and it'll give you a pin that all of the players will enter. In this case, it's 311604, and then they'll hit enter. Once they do that, they'll put in a nickname, and it'll show up over here. Once you have your whole class signed in, you click Start. And when you're editing your Kahoot, you choose how much time each question gets as it's loading. That's the time you determine, and how many points it's worth. So you come down here, you pick an answer. This is what the students will see. It corresponds with the options. So you pick the answer. It tells you if you're correct, tells you what place you're in. Once everybody has answered, it shows you the who answered what, and then it shows you the scoreboard. On a typical class, you'll probably see the top 6, I believe. So once you end quiz, you get a top scorer, their name, and their points. Then you can go to feedback and results, and the students can rate your quiz, survey, or quiz or survey. So this is a really great tool. It can be used for assessment or a review or just a game. Students love Kahoot. It's really fun and engaging and competitive. And once the students take the quiz, you get all of the data back onto your it would be on this page, all the data of who answered what, who got what right. So Kahoot's a really great tool for the elementary ed classroom.
I think it would be a really cool experience for the students to create their own Kahoots too, for their peers to answer questions. Maybe like in book clubs or reading circles, they could create Kahoots for the peers in their reading circles. I think that would be a really good experience, integrating technology into their education.
Definitely. We use it a lot in my placement classroom, and we have kids all the time come in and say they made a Kahoot, and then we use it in class and have their classmates take the quiz. And I mean, obviously we check it first and make sure all the information is correct, but we definitely let them assess each other in that way, and because it makes it more fun, it makes them want to do it more.
Yeah, I've actually used that as a student in college, and it was really fun and engaging. We used it for review, and it was great. We got to see how we were compared to other people. We got to see what areas we needed to work on, and it was engaging.
And another good thing about it is that you can establish nicknames with your students. So, and you would have that on record, so they don't see their peers' answers if that's an issue in your class.
Right. You could even do numbers.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so I'm going to do the last tool here, which is Rubistar. So this is Rubistar, and this is an amazing tool for teachers. This is the home homepage of Rubistar, and you can search by subject, as you see down here: reading, multimedia, art, math, all kinds of things. You can also find a rubric that's already been created, somebody who is logged on. This is also a free resource. So you type in your keywords and it comes up with pre rubrics that teachers have already created. You can also create your own rubric. There is prompts here. So if I said that I'm grading a timeline, it gives me, I would name my rubric, I would put in my code, and then every cell is broken down for you here. This makes creating a rubric so easy, and this has endless opportunities in the classroom for language arts, math, multimedia projects. This is a very good resource for teachers that they would use all of the time. There's also a tutorial on how to use it if you're not quite sure. Lots of easy access to in Rubistar. Very, very good resource.
I like Rubistar a lot. I just recently used it in my placement for in a lesson I did for my classroom management class, and I found it very easy, even though I wasn't doing exactly what the original rubric was meant for. I felt it very easy to edit it to what I needed it to be, and I already had that starting point to work from. I didn't have to create it all from scratch.
Yeah, which it can be very hard sometimes to create something from scratch, and that's why I think it's so helpful. Like you said, it didn't have exactly what you needed, but you can edit it, and you have some place to start. Especially for now, when you give students options for completing a project and having the ability to change your rubric as needed and it being very easy.
And it has that jumping off point for new teachers.
New teachers, that's a good point. I mean,
Definitely.
it's definitely helpful for teacher candidates and everything like that. And knowing about this resource now is very important, I think.
All right, friends. That's the end of our Hangout for today. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.